How do you get your Mavic video to go from this to looking a little bit more like this? Well, you're going to need a set of these. These are the Taco RC neutral density filters. Snap-on fit, made specifically for the DJI MAVIC. That way you can put them on, turn on your MAVIC, and not have to worry about fumbling around and putting them on after you've already powered up the MAVIC. The Taco RC filters come in a nice case like this. I ordered the set of 4, but for some reason I lucked out for a change and they sent me the 6-piece set. Now, if we look at the back of the box of the Taco RC filters, it gives us some information about how to use these and what their recommended settings are. I also got a UV and an ND64 filter in the box. With today's videos, I was using the ND32 filter, which is a 5-stop neutral density filter. It says that it should be used either in the desert, which is in Ohio, or over snow on very bright days. And that is exactly what we are looking at. So, how do you pick the right filter? Well, you need to do some playing around and do some testing. And after a couple attempts and enough tries, you should find the one that works the best for the MAVIC. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that'll hopefully make that easier for you. Alright, so here we are in live mode, and you'll see a couple things that are a little bit different. First of all, to help with my focusing issues, I have turned on the peak focus threshold, and I have set it to 90%, and that is why you see all of the red lines. So basically you click enable manual focusing and go ahead and click 90, and that way wherever you see red is in focus. If I change that number to 70, you'll see that a lot more red is on the screen, which is a little bit more distracting, so I just basically leave it at 90. So I've got the ND32 on here. That's what I shot with today. You'll see the clips mixed in here in this video. Some are edited and some are not. I'll let you know which ones are. We're shooting at 2.7K 30. I have adjusted some settings to my style. I am now at -1, -3, and -3. So that way I can come back in at the end and post and make a little bit of adjustments to basically compensate for any issues that I might have in the air as far as focusing or anything goes. So right away you can see that the shutter speed is at 60 at an ISO of 100, and if we take off real quick and go up into
the home point has been updated.
The sunlight,
please check it on the map.
You'll be able to see that we have basically the perfect filter picked for this shot. The exposure value is basically as close to 0 as we can get. It seems that it works a little bit better as you make the image a little brighter, but it's working. So I guess you really can't get wrapped up in the number. What I've been going off of is the histogram, and as you can see, if I change the shutter speed, you can see the data getting kind of scrunched up down there. Basically, you kind of want your data not in the middle, but shifted slightly to the right, kind of like that right there. But we can go one more click, and that's going to give us a really good histogram. Now, if we point into the sun, you're going to see the exposure value go up and the histogram start to increase as well. So basically, we're going to have to increase that shutter speed to get that exposure back down, but you can hear the clicking of the autofocus, so we're still letting in enough light. So a lot of this is just basically going to have to be practice, and a lot of it is going to have to be based on the histogram and everything else as far as selecting your appropriate ND filter. It seems like with the Mavic, at least right now in the wintertime, maybe in the summer it'll change, but it's kind of hard to stick to that 2 times the frame rate shutter speed with the changing lighting conditions and everything. Well, you're probably wondering, well, can't I just adjust the shutter speed and basically do the same thing without the filters? Well, yeah, you can. The only difference is you're going to get video like you saw at the beginning of this video. If you look right here, our shutter speed is at 1250, which is crazy, and that's not going to produce a nice cinematic video. Now, I'm just a hobbyist. I'm a really just a beginner when it comes to all this editing and all this stuff like that. So I'm sure there's plenty of experts out there that will weigh in, especially if you ask them to. But I have used these filters in the past with Phantoms and with my DJI Osmo, and the look that you get, that cinematic flowing look, that blurry look that you want when you're traveling at a high rate of speed, that is basically what is created by these ND filters. So if you're a new person, they're definitely a cheap way to get a lot more out of your Mavic or any drone, and you can basically just have a lot of fun with them and get as creative as you want. So again, take a look at the numbers here. 1250, ISO 100. You can see our exposure value is close, and take a look at the histogram here. It's pretty much what we had before, with just a little bit more data coming in down in the midtones to the left there. So let's take a look at what happened. So while we were filming in the sky, you can see to get the equivalent shot as far as the exposure value goes, we were all the way up to 5,000 on our shutter speed. And that is going to just result in a not so pleasing image, at least to some people's eyes. Sometimes it's okay. You don't need to put these things on all the time. You know, it's your drone. Do what you want to do with it. There's no right or wrong way to use these things, especially if you're just having fun and being a hobbyist like myself. But if you're looking to do a little bit more creativity and all that stuff, this is not what you want. You want that shutter speed low, real low. Twice the frame rate is what all of the professionals say. So that would be 60 if you're shooting at 30 frames a second, or 50 if you're shooting at 25 frames per second. So here we go. First couple shots here are edited a little bit, some sharpness added and a little bit of saturation, but you can just see the nice smooth video that you're getting out of the Mavic, how good everything looks there. Look at that, just a smooth flying shot, a little bit of gimbal jerk, but I was in sports mode and it's windy. Love that kind of reveal shot right there. Now these are unedited, but these are shot with the ND32. Again, shooting basically between 60 and 100 on the shutter speed was about as good as I could get. Still needed to keep it a little bit higher to allow enough light to come into the Mavic sensor, since it seems to be a little bit more picky than the Phantom ones. This is basically the same clip, just a little bit darker, a little bit lower on the shutter speed, closer to what the pros would say that you want to shoot at. Just another cinematic shot here. And I've got this double shot coming up here of basically the same shot with two different values of exposure level. One closer to 60, one not. Then just got this beautiful fly over here. Again, these last few shots are not touched or edited. So that's pretty much going to be a wrap, guys. I've had a lot of testing on these now. I definitely give them 2 thumbs up for any newbie or anybody wanting to have a lot more fun with their Mavic and try to produce some better creative content. I can't wait to use these things in the summer. I know that's when they're really gonna shine. I've got some great video that I shot with my Phantom 3 Pro last summer using Polar Pro ND filters. I'm sure the Polar Pros are gonna be a little bit better when it comes to maybe the build quality and stuff, but I have no complaints or anything about these filters at all. Couple things to look out for when you turn them on, when you put them on and you turn on your Mavic, the gimbal's gonna clank like crazy and hit. You want to make sure that your tabs for your gimbal are both still underneath the aircraft, so you still might want to pick up the Mavic and look at it after you've turned it on and everything is calibrated, just because I have had those tabs basically come loose, one of them come undone during the calibration process. The other thing is you want to make sure that when you put these on, you put them on all the way down as far as they'll go. Make sure they're even. They are even, because you can get them on very crooked easily and not really notice unless you spin and look around at the gimbal. So go ahead and do that. Just get a nice firm grip on the gimbal and push them right on. So that's going to be it, guys. You got any more questions or anything, let me know. I hope this was a good demonstration for you, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.